name, right? And the name will be, or let's say a sentence. Let me just use sentence. Sentence is Emmanuel Ofosu is doing tutorial session. All right. Excuse me. All right, so with this sentence, you can see that the name sentence here is the name of a variable, right? So a variable name is any, it's like you're naming something, right? You have an object and you want to give it a name. It's the same as a variable name. And that's what you use to represent the value that you are trying to let it hold. Like I said, a variable is a placeholder. All right. So are you guys also trying what I'm doing? I want to know, are you guys practicing alongside? Hello?
I'm actually out. So I'm using my phone. I'm not using the
I really like this to be an interactive session. Or you guys will try it later on.
Something like that.
Though I'll upload a video for you, but I wish you guys can also code along so that you can ask questions. See.
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So with this sentence, right? Python has different methods you can interact with this particular variable called sentence, right? When we get to what object orientation is, we'll know what an object is or what a method actually is, right? So in Python, everything, almost everything is an object, right? And when you pick an object, let's say when you pick a phone, right? The phone has attributes and what it does, right? It's the same thing, a phone being an object, it's the same thing a sentence or a string being an object has. It has methods that comes with it, right? So some of them is, I'm going to comment them out so that we'll look at them as we are going on. Capitalization or capitalize, yeah. All right, and then we have case food. We have count. And then we have end with ends with. Then we have starts with. So these are the few ones that I would like us to go through. There are a whole lot. I'm going to show you a link or I think a resource on the internet that you can get to find the others. But these are the few that I think we can go through in this session, right? So with the capitalize, it's a method that helps you to convert the first character of your sentence into capital or uppercase, right? So I'm going to make my Emmanuel small e and then the Ofosutu small o, right? And if I apply the capitalize method to it, and I put it in the printable object, right? When I save and then run, you realize that the E is now capitalized. Looking at the print statement, the E is now capitalized. So that is what the capitalized does, right? It looks at the first character in the enclosed or quoted characters, and then it capitalizes the first character, right? The next one is the case food. So the case food, what it does is that it will convert all the characters in the string into lowercase. So let's say we have tutorial as fully capital. Let me make it fully capital. And I try to print the sentence, but this time using the case food I save it and then I run it. You realize that the case fold has reduced the tutorials to small characters or lowercase characters. All right. So what the count also does is the count will return the number of times a particular value occurs in the string, right? So let's say we have, let me add another sentence to this, right? He does this on Saturdays. In the evening. I was hoping to get something that is repeating in all of them. I don't think we talked about concatenation in the last session. Did we? Please, those who joined the last session, did we talk about concatenation?
No, we didn't.
All right. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to try, right? We have we have O in this. We have O here, O here again. We have another O here. So we are going to check the number of times O appears in this string, right? So I'll do print sentence dot count, right? And then the value that I want to check the number of times, or I want to count in the string, right? I'll just put it here. So let's say 0. And I close this print statement. I save. All right, I'm getting an error. Okay, nice. All right, so it says that O appears 6 times in the string, right? Is there a way we can verify? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are O, not small o. So you can see that it shows. But let's say I want to check if a particular string, not only a character, a string. So I have this appearing once. Let me see if Python will show me something. Okay, so it has returned 1 because this appears once in the string or in the sentence variable. All right. So ends with. So ends with returns either true or false. So it checks whether a value ends with what you want to check, right? So let's say we have this sentence. We want to check whether the sentence ends with evening or the sentence ends with a dot, right? We can use the ends with method to check that as well. So let's say print sentence that ends with, oh, I'm getting the spellings right. So ends with evening, right? It says false because the sentence ends with evening and then dot, right? So when I add the dot to it, you realize that we are hopefully going to get a true return here. Do you get it now? So looking at this, with the end with, if you want to check what a particular character or a particular sentence looks like, how it ends, you can easily do that with the ends with method. And these are handy methods when you're doing projects, large projects. Instead of you using a for loop or a while loop to check these kind of things, Because you can use a for loop to do this, to check if a particular statement occurs in the sentence or something. But with this method, right, you can easily do this. Print sentence dot starts with he, Emmanuel. Let me check Emmanuel. No, just E. Yeah. It returns true as well because it ends with E. All right, so when it comes to Python string methods, there are a whole lot. I normally get my resources from W3 schools. I'll put it in a class, in a WhatsApp group, or yeah, I'll share with Robert as well so that he will put it in other group. All right, so let's go to modules in Python. So a module is basically a file, right? A Python file or a file that has a format PY. You know, every file has its own format. It's either .do, is it CX? That's for Microsoft Word. .pptx, that's for Excel. No, pptx is PowerPoint, right? So Python format is .py, right? So a module in Python is a file that contains a set of functions or even classes that you may want to include in another Python file. You get it? So you can have one Python file, right, that has all your operations, like you're building a system, a calculator. I'm going to use the calculator as an example. You are building a calculator, right? So you have a file that has all the math formulas. So we have a file that does addition, a function that does addition, another function that does subtraction, another function that does multiplication, right? And you have a file, a different file that you use to actually do your mathematical evaluations. You get it? So that file that holds all the functions is a module, and then the other file too is also a module. Okay, so a module in Python is basically any file that ends with .py. Okay, so we are going to look at an example, right? And then we'll see how it ends, how it looks like. With this example, I'm going to use VS Code to do this instance. All right. Is my VS Code opened already? Yes, that's opened. All right, so please don't mind what you're seeing. It is just something that I didn't open. Mass, right? And then inside the mass, I'm going to open it. All right, so please, can you all see this page, the VS Code page?
Yes.
All right, okay. Okay, so I'm going to create a file called, what name should I give it? Operations, right? Operations.py, operations.py, right? So this file, I'm just going to write two functions in it. One function to do additions, another function to do multiplication. So we talked about functions in the last session. So a function is a block of code that performs specific functions. I mean, specific actions, right? And what I'm declaring in it is called argument. It's called parameters. So a parameter is also like a variable, but it is values that are sent into a function, right? So numbers, and then we're going to have total equals to 0. And I will do, why is this highlighted? Expected, oh, no. Wow, it doesn't want to go away. All right, let's see. Okay, so for a number in numbers, right? And we'll do total plus or equals to a number. Please, those who were not part of the last session, if you're seeing something new, kindly ask, okay? So that I try and explain. Okay, let me just remove this. Will that work? It wouldn't. It's not working. Am I declaring this variable wrong? What am I doing wrong? All right. So and then we have the multiply. Equals to 0, right? And then we do for number in range and then if number equals to 0, total and total. All right. Any questions? Okay, so what this function does it? The name of the function is addition, right? And it has a parameter called numbers. The parameter will take a list of numbers. That's why I did this way initially. So this is how it's supposed to be. Right. So it checks the total, it initializes the total as 0, and then it loops through the list. So a list is a variable that holds more than one information or more than one data, right? You know, the normal variables can only hold one information, one data at a time. But with a list, a tuple, or a dictionary, you can specify more than one data into one variable. Okay, so that's why I'm able to loop through the list, because it's a list of items. I can loop it, run through it one after the other. So for number in numbers, then I try to add all the numbers to the total value. So let's say I have the numbers as 1, 2, 3. Let me put that one as comment. Numbers equals to 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 7, right? Okay. So then the first one will be 1 plus 0, which will give us 1. Then it goes to 3 plus 1, which will give us 4. And then it goes to 4 plus the 5, this 5, which will give us 9. It goes to 9 plus the 7, which will give us 16. So the total value which will be returned is 16 for this particular instance, right? So the same situation applies to this. But what I did here is that if the number in the list is 0, right, we should just take that as the total, because any number multiplied by 0 is 0, right? Am I right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, so That is why you can see that we have this if block here. So if that is not the case, that's where the else comes in. Then you do the total times or equals to. So the first one I did was plus or equals to. That this is an increment value, the same as this. What it does is it adds one. No, it adds on to, instead of me doing total equals to total plus number, the shorter form is total plus or equals to the number. The same for this instance as well. Right, so that is the name of this file. I'm going to create another file called test.py. Right, and then in that particular function, I'm going to write that particular file. I'm going to write a function that checks if a tuple of numbers or a list of numbers are even or odd, right? And then I'm also, no, I'm not going to do that one. I'm not going to do that one. I mean, I'm going to make use of the functions in the operations file or the operations model. So to make use of it, I have to first import it, right? I have to first import the operations file into this file because the test.py file will not automatically assume that this is where you are picking the operations, I mean the additions method from, or the subtract the multiplications function from. Okay, so to do that, we have to do import and then the name of the file. That's operations. Right? So what I've done here is that now I can make use of everything here because I've imported it. It's like I've imported everything in this file into this file, right? Remember I mentioned that Python makes things easier in the sense that the syntax itself reads like English, normal English. So I've been able to import everything in the operations.py file into the test.py file. Okay, so from there, here's one way to do it, right? The other way you can do it is to start with from operations, import, and then with this instance, you can now go into the operations file and then you can decide to import only the multiply function or the addition function. So like import addition. Any question? I can. It sounded like someone wanted to ask a question.
Yeah, Iwan.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the Zoom, we are using the what do you call it? The free version for today and tomorrow. Within this week, I will upgrade it for just 1 month, and we run the course. So if it goes off, please, I will plead all of you to just connect back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So can we just use the remaining time for you guys to ask any questions that you have?
We still have time, or we can do something. 9 minutes.
Wait, is my screen sharing?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, just
But
that
do you guys have any?
your the team of your editor doesn't make the text clear. I don't know whether the others can see it clearly.
All right.
Amate
But do
and
you guys have any
can you
questions?
all see?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
There's no question, right? Okay. And then you can also import the multiply function as well. All right. So then I can do add. I can do a variable called add numbers equals to addition, right? And then I can put in my numbers. So let's say 1, 3, 5, and then 7, right? And so when I print add numbers, I should expect the system to return it. So I'm going to open my terminal here and then run the file. So test.py. Wow, Python 3 test.py. All right, so you can see that it has returned 16, right? Can you guys see?
Yes.
You can see 16 here, right? All right, so
Yeah.
we can do the same thing for the multiplication. So multiply. I'm getting the sense you guys already know this. So that's why you don't feel like you have any questions. Do you guys have any prior experience in Python? I didn't print it.
I have a little, but it's not much.
I have a little.
Yeah.
We have some time. Kindly share what you have. Okay. Share. Let me know what you have so that to inform me a lot on how to approach things or even what you can skip. Because there's a lot I want to do with you guys.
Okay, well, for me, the only question I have about the import is that, you see, there are instances where you see a statement like import, let's say, operations as OP. I don't know if
it's a bit confusing there.
So it's like, because with the instance that you made, you just said import operations, but you sometimes see import something as, and then they'll represent it with, let's say 2 letters.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know
that's what lazy programming is. In one way, is lazy programming, or it could be that you are importing a lot of things which have similar names. You get it? Maybe you have another module somewhere called operations. You get it? So when you have 2 imports which are the same names, the ones that you imported last will be the one that your Python will pick. Do you get it?
Okay.
So to best or to uniquely identify both of them, that's why we use the alias. So it is called alias. So as something.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
So what you think is that we'll do like as OP or OPS. Hey, this thing is not showing. What is this? Okay, it should be import. All right. So then I have to do OPS dot. Do you get it? OPS dot. Before if I run the server. It's a nice question. Yeah, initially too, that was also confused. You can see that the multiply numbers print return 0 because we have 0 as one of the items in the list. So if I change this to, let's say, 4, then I do the printing again. It returns a huge number, 2,880.
Yeah.
So are you guys clear on what Python module is?
Yes, we are. Well, I am.
David, are you okay with it? Hello, David.
Hello.
Are you okay with it?
Yeah, I'm
following.
Yes, I'm following.
All right. So this is also good for organization. When you are writing a huge project, right? It's not advisable to have all your codes in one file. So the best you can do is to have smaller functions, all of them in. Maybe you have one particular file that holds all your functions, right? And then you have another file to do your main operations, like you want to do this, you want to do that. So, I mean, that is what functional programming is all about. And then there's also object-oriented. We'll go into the object-oriented when the timer ends. Right. So I want to know, David, do you also have any prior experience in Python?
No, I'm a beginner.
All right. So somebody asked me a question in my page. In my WhatsApp, that what's the difference between, Python and Django, PHP and Django. I don't know if the person is in this group. It's in this class. Anyway, so let's rejoin. Okay, I'm quitting and then I'll join again.